Since last Sunday, we have been inspired and challenged by John Wesley's classic sermon, The Use of Money. And John Wesley gave us some simple rules on money, which are earn all you can, save all you can, and give all you can. And last week we talked about how it is not money that we need more, but it is the wisdom that we need more around money. And today we're going to dissect the first of the three simple rules that John Wesley teaches. Earn all you can. Gain all you can, or earn all you can. Gain all you can, or in more modern day term, earn all you can, is not something that we are used to hearing from the church. And I'm sure it came as a surprise to Wesley's first audiences also. But before even that, the bigger surprise might have been the same scripture from Luke chapter 16 that he used to preach his sermon about money. The parable that is also known to us as the parable of the shrewd manager. Perhaps the element of surprise was intended to talk about money. Because Jesus, if we go into the scripture, Jesus also clearly intended to surprise his hearers. And if you see verse 1 from our reading today, Jesus told this parable to his disciples, which means it was a message to the insiders, which means it was the message who are already calling themselves as followers of Christ. To them, Jesus' praise for this dishonest manager must have been a surprise. Verse 8 goes like this: the master commended the dishonest manager because he had acted shrewdly, cleverly. For the people of this world are more clever in dealing with their own kind than are the people of the light. I tell you, use worldly wealth to gain friends for yourselves, so that when it is gone, you will be welcomed into eternal dwellings. So we can think about this. Why was this a surprise? Why is this a surprise for us? Why would this be such a big deal for the hearers? Because it contradicts the cultural assumption that wealth and money are evil things. You might be familiar with the phrase, filthy lucre. Filthy lucre. That phrase appears five times in the Bible, especially in the King James Version, which was the version that the first Methodists were probably using that time. In the classic book, Pilgrim's Progress by John Bunyan, the main character in the book, named Christian, comes to a small hill called Looker, in which there was a silver mine. That was the name of the hill. This is how the book describes this hill. Some of them had formerly gone that way, but going too near to the brim of the pit, the ground being deceitful under them, broke, and they were slain. Some also had been maimed there, and could not, to their dying day, be their own men again. John Wesley, in his sermon, refers to poets and philosophers and all nations in all history to rail at money as the grand corrupter of the world, the bane of virtue, the pest of human society. That's what his hearers expected him to say about money, especially given the fact that most early Methodists came from the lower economic classes. Their experience with the wealthy upper classes would have influenced this negative view on money. So the most important challenge for them and for us today is to unlearn what we have learned, the traditional understanding about money. And John Wesley uses the scripture to teach us the biblical wisdom about the use of money. Because through the parable, it was not Jesus' point. It was not his point to call us to be like the dishonest manager where he is cheating his boss. But the point of this parable is that Jesus is calling his followers to be as wise in their work and the management of their money as this guy was. And Wesley echoes that call by saying, it's not the money itself, but the use of money that can either be good or evil. And he goes a little further to call money an excellent gift of God. And that is our title of today's sermon, Excellent Gift of God. He goes on to say that money is the most compendious instrument of transacting all manner of business and of doing all manner of good. Adding to the series of surprises that he had going in the sermon, he introduces the first and the great rule of Christian wisdom, namely, gain all you can. And when he was advising Christians to earn money with all possible diligence, he was reflecting the wisdom from the book of Proverbs, especially where it consistently lifts up the positive results of hard work in contrast to the negative results of laziness. So listen to these words of wisdom that is illustrated in the book of Proverbs, chapter 6. Go to the ant, you lazy person. Consider its ways and be wise. The ant has no commander, no overseer or ruler, yet it stores its provisions in summer and gathers its food at harvest. How long will you lie there? This spoke to me personally. How long will you lie there, you sluggard? When will you get up from your sleep? A little sleep, a little slumber, a little folding of the hands to rest, and poverty will come on you like a thief, and scarcity like a warrior. I think the point is pretty clear in this proverb. But the instruction to gain all you can, or earn all you can, might sound like it's fueling today's culture of success-driven, high-achieving, overworking, consumer-oriented culture of ours. So Wesley put some conditions to his instruction about earning all you can. And there are 4 conditions that he puts under this earning all you can. The first is, earn all you can, but not at the expense of your health. Earn all you can, but not at the expense of your health. That's very practical, right? Wesley warns us not to begin or continue in any business which necessarily deprives us of proper seasons for food and sleep. The question here, whether we have the balance, is whether we have the balance, because in the long run, what makes our work productive and effective is not the endless work that we do, but maintaining that healthy balance. And it's important to remember for us to remember when God was creating the world, God rested on the 7th day, Sabbath. And that rest on that 7th day is part of that rhythm of creating. Remember that. The second rule to remember when earning all you can is earn all you can, but not at the expense of your soul. The first was not at the expense of your health. The second is not at the expense of your soul. Wesley said, we must preserve at all events the spirit of a healthful mind, by not participating in any sinful trade. What it meant here is that anything that is not consistent with a good conscience, avoid it. Proverbs chapter 1 backs this up by saying, "These are the ways of all who seek unjust gain. It costs them their lives." This is chapter 1, verse 19 of Proverbs. Not in the expense of your health, not in the expense of your soul. And the third is earn all you can, but not at the expense of your neighbor. Not at the expense of your neighbor. Simply saying we are all connected to one another in this nature of economy. With this understanding, the way we earn our money has a direct impact on the lives of others. That's just the nature of this. We cannot be faithful followers of Jesus Christ, who told us to love one another, if we earn by doing harm to our neighbors. So this is a very important piece to be mindful of. And the fourth one, and the last one, is earn all you can in ways that honor God. Earn all you can in ways that honor God. This is what Wesley says about this. He says that providing for our own basic needs and those of our family is a good answer as far as it goes, but it does not go far enough. A Christian may go abundantly farther. He said that the goal of labor, quote unquote, is to please God, to do the will of God on earth as angels would do in heaven. The goal of labor is to please God and to do the will of God on earth as angels do in heaven. And he throws the question to us. Isn't this a more excellent way? Isn't this the more excellent way around money? At the bottom of all these, it comes down to the question if you can see your work or your role in the society as a calling from God. The key word here is that word, calling. I don't know if you know and I'm not sure if this is a good example or illustration, but have you watched a reality show called Shark Tank? Have you seen that? No? Yeah. I've been watching a few of those episodes recently. Well, what this is about is there is a group of wealthy, highly successful investors known as sharks. Interviews ordinary people who want to launch a new business or product, and their goal is to have one or more of the sharks to invest in their products. But those sharks can be really harsh and brutal. And they're so harsh in a way that they are only interested, at least it seems to me, in making profit. And I was joining in sympathy with the young presenters who are before them with the hopes and dreams of his or her brilliant ideas. But what I was seeing was that some of the sharks were a little bit different. Some of those investors could be different. And they could be different in a way that they were not just interested in making a profit, but also in making difference. So those few folks was able to see beyond making profit. They're looking for the potential difference that this new product or this new person, new business might bring to the lives of others. And I believe that at the heart of Wesley's argument about earning all you can is the question, do you consider what you do for a living merely as a method of survival, or is it your calling? And I hope we can all take some time to think about this question this week. Is this something I do because I have no other options? Or is there God's purpose who puts me in this job so that I can make a difference? Imagine what kind of a difference it'll make in your life if you are able to consider your job as your calling. Either whichever field you are in right now, financial, medical, education, or creating arts, performing arts, running a business, or caregiving, or raising children at home, whatever it may be. Whatever it may be. If we can consider what we do for a living as a calling, if each one of us do that, each one of the entire world does that, then I believe the change and the difference we all yearn for in this world and in this nation isn't far away. So I'll end with a portion from Wesley's words that from his sermon that made a lot of sense to me. And here they are. Lose no time. Lose no time. If you understand yourself and your relation to God and men, you know you have none to spare. If you understand your particular calling as you ought, you will have no time that hangs upon your hands. Every business will afford some employment sufficient for every day and every hour. Never leave anything till tomorrow, which you can do today. And do it as well as possible. Do not sleep or yawn over it. Put your whole strength to the work. Spare no pains. Let nothing be done by halves or in a slight and careless manner. Let nothing in your business be left undone if it can be done by labor or patience. So I pray that these down-to-earth reminders by Wesley may bring a true change throughout our own lives and the lives of those around us. Amen.